Greetings. This will be a video report and astrolog of the magnitude 7.6 earthquake that struck on December 8, 2025. And this report is going to earthsignals.com, solarwatcher.net and quakewatcher.com. Now just looking at the exact details of this magnitude 7.6 earthquake that struck officially in the Hokkaido, Japan region on December 8, 2025 at 14:15 UTC. Now, there was some significant solar activity that preceded this strong earthquake in the Japan region. On the same day, we had a discharge, an M flare, that was released off the solar corona, and we had a magnetic loop extending from the southern hemisphere right into the northern hemisphere, which fit this latitude quite well. There's also another discharge just further to the south with the arrow. But we can actually see the magnetic bridge going from the southern hemisphere to the northern hemisphere, and this is the exact area of the location of the epicenter of the earthquake in the Japan region. We're now focusing on the exact time of the earthquake and taking a look with astrocartography what was taking place at the time of the Hokkaido region event. And if we have a look, we have a very important opposition between Uranus and Lilith. Perfect opposition while connected into a trine with Neptune, and that's that blue triangle. And the red triangle is a T-square where the Sun has just gone through a perfect T-square with the lunar nodes. So that's the main attributes. We can also see that Mars is moving into a perfect square with Saturn. So there's a lot going on. But importantly, in behind all this, we have a grand trine. We have Jupiter holding, while in retrograde, a connection with Saturn at 24 and 25 degrees. And we can see that Mercury's moved in to form a grand trine. And I mentioned this in my video as it would be quite important. And just prior to this, the Sun and Venus also made a grand trine with both Jupiter and Saturn. Now going right back to 2021, I'll now animate the software with astrocartography, and we're going to see Jupiter moving back retrograde across the Japan region. Now I've paused it right here. We have the Sun at square with both nodes, interestingly, just before this happens. So just going to animate the software. We're going to be watching Jupiter coming back retrograde. Jupiter starts to slow down and station very close to the house, just slightly to the east. So we can see that the Jupiter station would have been the smoking gun for this. And there's the station. Jupiter's connected into Mars at trine. We have the Sun connected into Pluto at square. Mars is going to be moving to a square with Pluto as well. And we have an opposition here between Lilith and Venus while connected at 150 degrees with Uranus. So there's a fair amount going on with this. But importantly, the Jupiter station is marking this earthquake epicenter. And right on this time frame as well, we have Lilith connected into a station Mercury. So there's a lot of stations taking place, importantly Jupiter being extremely amplified in 2021. So the question is, why did it take 5 years or so for this earthquake to occur? And we can see the configurations just based on this. I'll now snapshot this and we'll look further ahead. Now what's interesting is that I made a forecast for the Gujarat, India region for a possible shake in this time frame of December of 2025, and I used the Jupiter station for this. And interestingly, the same Jupiter station on the other end of the globe, the Hokkaido, Japan. So I've picked the wrong side of the Jupiter station for the forecast. We're now moving here to March of 2022, and this is where things get to be a little bit more interesting in terms of geometry focus over the Japan region. Now we're about to see a series of conjunctions. First off, Venus and Saturn will be making their conjunction just to the western side of the house, which is marking the earthquake epicenter in 2025. Note the planetary alignment below. 8 days following this, Mars comes through and makes a conjunction with Saturn. So Saturn's making a double conjunction with both Venus and Mars within 8 days of separation. Look how strong the chart is. We have an amazing occurrence. Mars, Venus and Saturn were being in conjunction while connecting into the node within 2 degrees on each side at square. We have Venus connecting into Lilith, but importantly we have a conjunction about to be taking place between Jupiter and Neptune, slow moving conjunction, and Sun and Mercury about to make their conjunction just after both of these conjunctions. So there's a series of planetary connections taking place while strongly aspected into the nodes, and the Jupiter slow moving connection with Neptune is highly significant. And then Sun Mercury will make their conjunction just a few days after this. So you can see that there's a lot going on here. But importantly, we have some very strong nodal connections with these planetary connections. Now moving ahead to August of 2022, and this time we get a powerful planetary connection of Sun and also Saturn making their opposition. Note the location just to the western side of where this house is, marking the future earthquake epicenter. And have a look at the chart aspect. Not only do we get the opposition between Sun and Saturn, note its location, but Venus will be coming through to make an opposition of Saturn as well, just a few days later. So there's a lot going on, but we can see that while Saturn was moving retrograde across the house, we get this opposition of Sun. So we can see that Saturn and Venus will be making their connection, this time further to the east. Now we get a Jupiter station marking the earthquake epicenter pretty perfectly in 2021, a series of planetary alignments in 2022 involving Saturn. As Saturn has moved back across the Japan region, it's stationed, about to turn direct motion. And just looking at this a little bit more closely, we had a very big earthquake across the Japan region in January 1st of 2024, and the earthquake epicenter is where I'm pointing the mouse right here. So we can actually see the Saturn movement potentially has created some significant damage across the Japan region, and the Jupiter movement may be the reason for the Hokkaido, Japan earthquake. So we get both planets showing themselves with their stations across the Japan region, and these are the station direct. So they're completing their retrogrades, and this is all taking place while we got some very significant planetary geometries that were in play at the time of both of these planetary movements. Now this is where it gets a little bit more interesting. I've paused it in August of 2024 at a station of Mercury. Mercury is stationed, note its location, just slightly further to the east. So we get a Jupiter station of 2021, a station of Saturn the following year, 2022, and a Mercury station in 2024, all around the earthquake epicenter. And importantly, when all three planets are in grand trine in 2025, in the month of December, we get this earthquake. We're now into the week preceding this major earthquake in the Japan region, and just using the extra harmonics, and I'm just going to add the square aspects. We can see that Mercury's square aspect is moving across the Japan region, while the trine aspect of Mars is also following in behind. So we get this strong resonance about 4 days prior to the earthquake event. Note that we have the grand trine forming between Jupiter, Saturn and Mercury. There are about 3 degrees of separation, and as we get closer, now progress forward, we're now 2 days short of the quake, 1 day short of the quake, and now quake day. So we get this strong connection across the Japan region in the harmonics of square and also trine. But importantly, the grand trine is taking place at the time of this earthquake between the same planets that were causing the stationary movements, and that is Mercury, Jupiter and Saturn in the years of 2021, 2022 and 2024. And finally, when they all converge and meet in 2025, we get the earthquake release. That concludes this video report and astrolog of the magnitude 7.6 earthquake that struck on the 8th of December of 2025. This is exclusive content from earthsignals.com, solarwatcher.net and quakewatcher.com. Thanks for watching.